What up, everyone? Dark here. Got a couple of level up games for you guys today. So both of these, it's kind of funny, like the players that originally submitted them, maybe we're starting at like 1,000, 1,100 elo. Now we're creeping up into the 1,300 range. So really kind of fun to see you guys all get better, picking up little things from the game. I really enjoy casting it. So what you'll see here, 2 different games back to back. A little bit of critique, a little bit of suggestion, but I think it's just good in general for players to be able to see everything, especially that the caster sees, right? You see both sides of it, and you're like, oh man, I should have done X a little bit sooner, or maybe I should have been more aggressive, whatever it might be. So 2 exciting games. I hope you enjoy. All right, here we got Max1boy in blue playing USF. No initial lock-in, gonna get a second scout and that barracks up, which you'd love to see. Over here in red, ParmazaanseBaas. We'll just call him Parma. He's in red here, Wehrmacht. Similar build, 2 Pios into infantry company and some grenadiers. So we're here on Villafiore, and I like seeing this, that the capping order makes sense from both sides. You got scouts going for the cutoff in that big fuel. You got Pios going for the cutoff in that big fuel. This is something that Havoc helped me work through. So something I just like to keep an eye on. There's not always like a perfect capping order, but there are concepts. But on some maps like this one, there is definitely an ideal progression, at least early in the game. Okay, so we're seeing Parma is locked in breakthrough in those MP40 Grens, and Max1boy has locked in armored with the vehicle Vet 1. So I wonder if we're going to see a Jeep here. An early Jeep can pay dividends. In fact, my buddy Skang has a build that he likes with armored where he actually runs 2 Jeeps at the start. And then from there, the veterans see you go 1 with the ability to capture and then 1 with the ability to drop support weapons that allows you to drop MGs while still playing heavily with Jeeps and rifles. Now Parma floating a little bit of manpower here. And prioritizing the center VP, nice. I like to see the wire go down. With the new construction times, it's not as risky to try to put wire in on green cover. So, early kind of meeting engagement here. Jeep has arrived. But the riflemen are just going to kind of hold ground here. And I don't hate this. Right, stay in green cover, make it hard. The Grens are not good at shooting on the move, so if you force them to fight into you, you can do okay. Scouts also going to do just fine against these pilots at range. Jeep finishes the cap, gets some XP for it as well. We're going to see a 3rd Gren from Parma, and this is where the Jeep can start to struggle. It doesn't do that much damage. Yeah, keep it away from the Grens. Nice. Rifles in green cover. Jeep and Pioneers trying to bully... Jeep and Scout bullying these Pioneers. So, 2nd rifle shows up for Maxi. Oh, can he pick up this? You gotta have that Jeep chase. Oh, unfortunately, the Pioneer gets away. A little bit of a missed opportunity early for Maxi. Are we gonna see MP40 Grens? 3 Grens out for Parma. And he's actually going to take control of the center here as well as the north side of the map. Just these rifles and scouts. This is the downside to the Jeep. It's just a little bit of lack of staying power. The Jeep is really flexible, but also lacks durability. Well, really advanced capping there by that Jeep and that scout. Parma's going to counter cap here through the center. Max1boy going for the infantry support center. Makes sense with this build. We do see MP40 Grens here. Interesting. Yeah, I like this. Put the Grens with 5 Car 98s in this building to try to chip away at range. And now, yeah, these MP40 Grens, smart to move to cover. And remember, so those 3 MP40s are the priority weapons. So as models drop, this squad maintains a short range DPS, loses long range DPS. Oh, I like this from the Gren. Little bit of a cutoff. Actually doesn't apply right now until this is decapped. I wonder if we're going to see a Faust here. Parma's going for tier 1 officer's quarters, so no additional... The Jeep actually, he has to worry about the Faust. but it's not really an option at the moment for Parma. And yeah, this is not an ideal engagement for these rifles. Just trying to kind of standing in the open, getting beat up. Oh, I like this from Parma, using the Blitzkrieg ability to get some rapid capping. Yeah, this is smart. He's going to be able to cap up these resource points that were harassed relatively quickly. Max1boy, meanwhile, is going for a motor pool. I appreciate the early tech. I think he might have been better off, and if you look at his manpower, getting a third rifle out before he teched motor pool, just because you really need that. You really need that like map presence, and you can see it in the minimap there with the amount of map control Parma's been able to build. Some of that is the Blitzkrieg ability, but at the same time, just without the same number of combat units on the field, right? 2 rifle squads versus 4 grenadiers. That's gonna hurt. Oh, these Grens, pretty low health. The rifles could chase down to a single Gren model. And the Gren squad picked up. That was not a good trade for Parma. He's got fantastic map control, but losing that Gren was just kind of unnecessary. But now he's been able to build this nice little kind of defensive position to the middle. I love the wire here, making use of the Grenadiers. Meanwhile, the Jeep has the map hacks upgraded, so that'll definitely help Maxi plan his pushes. But these scouts definitely need to get back for heals. They're going to start dropping models, and they may actually drop a couple on this retreat path. Oh, wow. Damage perfectly distributed. There we go. 1 scout drops. Engineers out now for Maxi. And they've got the flamethrower, which is not... It's not a bad idea considering how much green cover the Grens are using, but... Again, I'd prefer to see a third rifle here just for the balance. We have a Greyhound on the way, though. Meanwhile, Parma has gone Panzer Grenadier Company, floating quite a bit of manpower. Could go for Pack 40, which he will, or Panzer Grenadiers. Here's the Greyhound. Immediately going to eat a Panzerfaust. And fortunately, Engineer's right there. Yeah, what you want to avoid is getting Fausted multiple times. And this other Grand Squad here could also sprint in with that MP40 upgrade. Yeah, these rifles, this is not an engagement that you want between the Pyos and the MP40 Grens. And I don't think Maxi sees it. And there's a risk of some unnecessary bleed there. Greyhound's going to slide over, but still has to be concerned about that Faust. So Armored Skirt's coming in, but he's going to... could easily eat another Faust here. He's kind of playing very tight. But Captain and Scout will chase. The Greyhound, I guess, elects to go for this Pioneer here. Meanwhile, you see a little Gren blob coming across. Parma floating a ton of manpower. I wonder if we're going to see a second. There's 1 Pack 40. The Greyhound needs to be careful. It's going to set up, get at least 1 hit off. Fortunately, the Armored Skirts came in, gave it a little bit of extra health. With this Jeep, Maxi doing a good job of counter capping. Med station is up. So little engagement here with the captain. Captain, yeah, you know, probably a good call. Said might have been able to hang out and get that cap off, but better to make sure the captain stays alive. Yeah, Parma, there we go. Okay, that's what he was waiting for. Is the 251 with the Stoss trooping haul in that assault mechanized group. Oh no. Those scouts, yeah, gunned down by the Grenadiers. This, the 251, we don't see the Stummel upgrade yet, but potentially Stummel and Stoss trooping. That's a lot of anti-infantry firepower. A third rifle hits the field. Oh, this Greyhound needs to get out of there. Oh, Maxi1boy moves it the wrong way and it gets annihilated by the Pack 40. And suddenly, Parma battling back from kind of a slow early game start, getting some good wipes here. Greyhound knocked out, Scout picked up. Meanwhile, Maxi looks like he's going to invest more in his rifles. BAR's on the way. And that's a dangerous proposition with Stas trooping on the field now. And the Stummel conversion coming for this 251. Engineers forced off by assault Grenz. No grenades yet for Max1boy either. And I think that, assuming another upgrade he's going to want to consider just to deal with the Stummel, to deal with these infantry. Yeah, Stas trooping. There's a lot of risk in this build now. Because these Stas trooping are, with the Stummel, are just going to chew up the rifles. And without that Greyhound, there's nothing to really counter them. Jeep drives up on some Grenadiers. Short on munitions, so we're not going to actually see a Faust. Ooh. First Stummel rounds come in on these American infantry. And now a Stas trooping are here. Captain Mortar Barrage called in, but you want to use that to displace team weapons, and so that's going to hit a lot of nothing, unfortunately. Maxi-boy working on the flank here with a couple of additional rifles and engineer. Yeah, with that Stummel there, that's a dangerous proposition. He's got another Greyhound in the build. And he really needs it to be able to deal with the Stas and these Grenadiers. Oh man, these rifles. Engineers move up. Gren's forced to retreat. Now the Stas getting kind of bullied just a little bit. There's another Gren squad. Probably need to move up to support. Oh, the Stas trooper could go down here thanks to a nice hit from the Greyhound. Rifles chase. Oh, wow, they pick up the Stas trooping squad. That is huge for Maxi. He's lost a lot of map control, but getting that Stas squad kind of evens the balance in terms of infantry combat right now. He needs to recover some fuel so we can continue to invest. I would like to see grenades, potentially even advanced logistics if he's going to keep playing this infantry heavy. But Greyhound on the field gives him a little bit of flexibility. 3 Grens, and now Parma going for a Panzer Grenadier squad, which, I mean, yeah, it's a shame. The Stas trooping are better, but without that call-in, I would honestly go for another 251 and Stas call-in. The P-Grens did get buffed recently, but I'd still almost always rather have the Stas trooping. Oh, the scouts. Some of these things, if I'm really gonna nitpick for Maxi, you know, I don't know if he's living in the TAC map or not, but sometimes that can help you see that initial engagement, like, oh, the scouts took a big hit. They just need to, sorry, I was distracted by the 251 drifting. They just need to retreat now versus eat another, you know, volley of rounds from the Grens and then end up losing a model. You know, it's 25 manpower you could have saved. But again, just kind of nitpicking, and a lot of that just comes down to like APM awareness and the luck of looking at the right thing at the right time. Gren's trying to harass are going to get pushed off by rifles and the base machine gun. Yeah, the value of these Grenadiers now is not in their anti-infantry, it's in their ability to force this Greyhound into bad spots. But the rifles with BARs are almost certainly going to beat the Grens as long as the vet's roughly even. Parma's got a Stug G on the way, which is an interesting choice. Alright, American infantry pushing here through the middle, now tangling with these assault Grenadiers. Actually, those Grens bleeding quite a bit. The Stummel, a little bit of friendly fire there. The Gren's forced to retreat. Greyhound's going to move up. Needs to be careful of the Pack 40. On the opposite side, rifles find some Panzer Grenadiers. This is when having a grenade tech is super helpful. We're going to use port on them. At the very least, these P-Grens aren't Vet 1. Rifles eventually retreat. Stug G moves up. Greyhound has to back up to avoid getting knocked out by the Stug G. And Maxi-boy's going to go Chaffee, which I agree with that. A little bit of extra value there. If you can get on the flank of that Stug or support the Chaffee with some rifles, it's a good counter. And then I love the new ability with the Chaffee to use a smoke shell. Allows you to smoke out that Pack 40. Now this is not how I would recommend going through this engagement. Chaffee versus Stug G, especially with the Stummel in support. That white phosphorus round would be really dangerous. Fortunately, neither one of these vehicles can actually hit the other. Oh, engineers unfortunately annihilated. Chaffee using flanking speed to back out. The Stug chasing. Look at the speed of that Stug on the road. That's wild to me. Oh, the Stug has found the Chaffee. It bounces both shots. No. Get the Chaffee out of there, or smoke shot. There's nice use of the smoke shot. Chaffee needs to keep backing up. Greyhound gets in the rear armor. The Chaffee comes back. Gets knocked out by the Stug. See if the Greyhound can avenge it. But this is a dangerous engagement as well. Oh no, the Pack 40. And just like that, Maxi-boy's light vehicle is all annihilated. He's got to be concerned about VP bleed at this point. He's down to 200. Parma's got the advantage, and Parma's actually going to push here onto the cutoff. Captain Mortar Barrage coming in on these Grens. This is... It does some damage, but this is one of the situations where I'd really recommend, if you're not up against a bunch of MG42s, that Mortar Barrage becomes less useful, and the marked vehicle becomes very useful, especially against something like a Stug that has very high frontal armor. So rifles force away the Grenadiers. The Stummel's going to continue to be a problem. Maxi-boy's got a 57mm AT gun out. He needs to get that involved. Parma floating a ton of resources and has the triple cap. So Maxi-boy down to about 3 minutes of VPs left. There's a 57mm getting a nice hit in. Oh, Stummel's hanging out a little close. Maybe another shot. Oh, there it is. Nice pick up there from Maxi-boy. Really what you need to knock out though is this Stug. Your infantry can generally do okay as long as you're not fighting the P-Grens. This MG42 that's moved up, however. Wow, those Pioneers get gunned down because they're trying to repair the Stug. Nice pickup. Yeah, and Parma says, yeah, I'm done with this. I'm building my tier 4 right now. I like this rifle squad on the flank VP to try to manage this bleed a little bit. Oh, these P-Grans out there, Vet 1 starting to chew through the rifles. Both squads end up retreating. The Jeep map hacks are really, really nice, though, for keeping track of all these units. Gren's on the flank here. I wonder if they're going to come in for a Faust. That's what it looks like. Oh, man, the Jeep's already taking so much damage and knocked out. Nice play there from Parma to get on the flank. Okay, so now, interestingly enough, Maxi's gone for a Scott. Well, the 57mm doing a great job penetrating this Stug, forcing it back. The Scott could be really nice, especially with this MG42 and the Pack 40 in the back. So I think a lot's going to come down to how Maxi plays this. He's not too far away from Easy 8 availability, but if he goes for tier 4, he needs much better fuel control to manage this. He's lost a lot of light vehicles. Oh no, Scott, back up. That's a Pack 40. It eats a second round. If it eats a third, the Scott's done. Oh, Scott fortunately backs away in time. Panzerguns force off the captain. Stug G's still being repaired. Maxi-boy has relieved the VP pressure, however. Just for now. Oh, this 57mm P-Gren's gonna chase it back. Scott's gonna move up here. Try to deal with these P-Grens. White phosphorus round comes in a little bit late. Actually, that's not terrible because it's forcing a weird retreat path for the P-Grens. That Scott does need to be careful of this Stug G though. MG42. Wow, the rifle's not suppressed by the first burst. Now they will be. He's got the Scott there. It looks like Scott's going to come up with a barrage. Scout's on the flank. At risk of being cut down by those Grens. What a weird scatter on that smoke barrage. Oh, rifles knock out a Gren squad on the flank. Easy. Necessarily easy pickup. That's a big deal. You're significantly cutting into Parma's ability to spread out the map. What Maxi doesn't know is that Parma is very close to getting either Panzer IV or Brumbear out, and that's gonna be painful if he's not able to get some more anti-tank firepower. Pack 40 starts to chip away at the Scott, as does the Stug G. 57 mils in the back, but apparently can't see. Oh wow, rifles point blank blast. They take a huge hit from the Stug G. Machine gun does a lot of additional damage, so the rifles get away. So this is something, what Maxi needs to avoid here is a mistake that I make all the time, where I worry about continuing to apply pressure and I end up committing kind of units one at a time to the fight. Sometimes it makes sense to just wait and get multiple units out at the same time. Captain's going to drop a mortar barrage on this MG42 and then pray it survives the retreat. With those P-Grens, I doubt it. Well, fortunately the Scott's there. AT gun could be decrewed. Scott continues to chip away at the P-Grens. AT gun is decrewed, but that should be picked up relatively easily. So both players floating a little bit. Parma finally going for med station healing. That makes sense. He had mostly Grenadiers and he unlocked Veteran C1. Oh, nice combo. The Stug engine damage. Waiting for that sticky bomb to come in after the 57 mil shot hits. Oh, rifles could gun down this Pack 40 here. MG42 is going to set up. The suppression saves the Pack 40. Scott fully healed up. Wow, another Grenadier squad goes down to a rifle squad on the flank. That's a big deal. You look at the maneuver units here. A P4's now hit the field, but there's less and less infantry available. And on a map like this, the way Maxi's playing with his riflemen kind of spread out in different lanes, the MG42 can get flanked and get hit pretty hard. Now, Max1boy trying to alleviate some of this VP pressure. Oh no, this Captain. Captain gets picked up by the Panzer IV. White phosphorus barrage coming in from the Scott onto the MG42. Wow, you would think it would do more damage. Scott eats Panzerfaust for his trouble. Max1boy gets one of the VPs, but is still on the drain here. Rifleman coming across. Scott needs to be careful of these Grenadiers, but the Riflemen on the flank. Now the Panzer IV is the problem. The second AT gun comes out. Now a sticky bomb comes in. Not enough to get the engine crit, but wow. The AT gun barrages do a lot of damage. One more shot. Meanwhile, the Scouts could go down here to the P-Grens. Wow. Another Gren squad knocked out by these Riflemen on retreat. And these little engagements are going to start to add up for ParmazaanseBaas. Now, from a vehicle perspective, Parma had the advantage, but he's got to pull his P4 back for repairs. Maxi's got 2 of the 3 VPs, so he's stalled the bleed. Now he's reconsolidating as well. He's got these 2 AT guns. And floating a bunch. Did he go for the... I think he went for the call-in for the Easy 8, so no tier 4. I'm sure people will have opinions on that decision. Understandable. But I think in this case it makes sense. Even though you pay more and you get the engineers with it, he may only get one Easy 8 out at this point. He's going to flex his rifles down here. And then Parma going for a naval warfare. I don't know that I agree with that decision. I know he's worried about these AT guns, but I think he needs more like on-field infantry at this point. Max1boy just throwing white phosphorus down in the middle of the map here. Yeah. Stug G doing way more damage with its pintle machine gun than with its main gun. And I like this. Max1boy not overextending with his rifles. Right, trying to apply broad pressure and then hold what he's got. Because if he holds his triple cap, he can end this game in a few minutes. If he loses cap control, he's down to a handful of seconds of tickets left. Now this is dangerous. So the sticky bomb, especially when you're so low in munitions, all it does is really keep the P4 from chasing you, but that you're not gonna be able to do a whole lot with that. Easy 8 hits the field from the call-in. And I like from Parma that he's keeping the Stug G and the Panzer IV close to each other for mutual support. He's got to be suspicious that an Easy 8 will be here soon. But even then, Maxie's going to have a cap advantage. Parma floating tons of resources, could easily get a second P4 out. I wonder if he's going to try to stall for the Tiger at this point. I think a second P4 would be a better choice. Or a Brumbear. Oh, another white phosphorus round comes in. Pack 40 chips away at the Scott. The Easy 8's going to engage. Easy 8 slowly chipping away at the Pack 40 and actually taking quite a bit of damage. Now the Stug on the flank here. The 57 mil is facing the wrong way. They're going to have to turn to face. Oh, man. The Stug bounces a couple shots, whiffs its first shot onto the Scott. Closing, I don't think, is the right option. 57 mils rotate. Now the P4 coming in. Naval warfare barrage on the AT guns. Easy 8 bounces another shot, but the AT guns knock out the Stug. Wow, the Pack 40 cleared by some riflemen in the back. Both 57 mils cleared. Now this Easy 8 on its own against the P4. Both tanks exposing the rear armor for some reason. Maybe he's trying to drive. Oh, he picked up the Pack 40. I like this. He's driving the Easy 8 in a direction that allowed this stolen Pack 40 to help. Panzer IV taking big chunk damage. Easy 8 gets a shot. Oh, it's a white phosphorus. And the Pack 40 will clean up the Panzer IV. Wow. Nice play to drag the P4 into your stolen AT gun. A scout squad here dies to the Panzer Grenadiers. But, man, Parma has almost nothing on the field. The naval warfare was stolen as well. Pioneers come to try to challenge it. Maxie needs to be careful here, though, because he only has one of the 3 VPs. Pioneers reclaim the naval warfare. Stolen Pack 40 is going to back up. Another Scott. I think I'd rather see a second Easy 8 call in, right? Because you get some additional engineers. But Maxi-boy's got to get on the VPs here. And this MG42 setting up in the middle. That's going to be a pain. At least he's got the Scott here to deal with this. But Maxi's down to 50 points. So even though huge army composition advantage over Parma, Parma's clearly stalling for a Tiger here, which I think is probably a mistake. He needs more infantry on the field, flood the zone, try to get a triple cap on. Maxi, a Greyhound? Is it just for the Raider ability? That's the only thing I can think of. Parma getting a new Pack 40 out. All right, so Maxi going to relieve the VP pressure here with only 25 tickets left. Now Easy 8 pushes up, forces away the Panzer Grenadiers. Wow, and Parma's got to pull everything back to his base. Yeah, this Tiger stall is not going to work out in his favor. Maxi's about to get the triple cap on here that gives Parma 4 minutes to get back in the game. All right, here it is. The Tiger here is supported by a single Panzer Grenadier, an MG42, Pioneer, Naval Warfare, and Pack 40. Oh, Easy 8 pushing all the way up, finds the MG42. And Parma going to use MG42 to lure the Easy 8 into the Tiger. Easy 8's like, yeah, actually, this isn't a great engagement. Oh, the Scott needs to be even more cautious. Moving up. Don't throw a sticky bomb. Don't do it. Why? What are you going to do? What are you going to do that, Tiger? Wow, Naval Warfare sets off a mine. Does a bunch of damage. Alright, so Parma can go back on the offensive here. This Scott's got to be careful. Wow, the Tiger whiffs its first shot. The Pack 40 does not. The Scott needs to get out of there. Oh, takes 2 more hits and is knocked out. Max1boy picking up some of these decrewed AT guns with his engineers. Pack 40 shot bounces on the Tiger. These rifles on the flank suppressed by the MG42. Now the Tiger's going to press in the middle here. Oh, wow. Immediately clears one of the AT guns. Pioneers using Blitzkrieg captured the center. Oh no, this is not looking good. Max1boy has less than a minute of VPs left, tickets left. But this Tiger here, rifles moving in on it. Oh my gosh, they just take so much damage from that 88. Another sticky bomb comes in and they retreat. Go down to just 2 models. The Tiger's still not edging critted. Easy 8 moves up to cover the center. Needs to be repaired. Maxi needs to capture the central VP. And he's going to hop on it, but here come the Panzer Grenadiers. Pack 40, Tiger, and Naval Warfare in support. And this MG42 going for the flank VP. Maxi also going for a flank VP here. Riflemen decap the center. Only 8 points left. Those Pioneers go to get in the building. They may just get knocked out here. Riflemen trying to hold the center VP to decap it. They do manage to capture it. Oh, Naval Warfare barrage coming in. Pioneers get knocked out. These AT guns down to just 2 models apiece. Easy 8 in the center taking a ton of damage from the Pack 40 and the Tiger forced to back up. The stolen Pack 40. Oh, wow. The Scott clears MG42. Maxi recovers with 7 VPs. Is going to get 2 or 3 VPs here. Scott on the flank. Oh no, this Tiger. It's rolling into a pack wall. He doesn't even know. The 257 mils on the flank getting some side hits in. No problem penetrating the armor. Pack 40 whiffs again, but these 57 mils don't. And the Tiger knocked out. And Parma, I imagine, is going to throw a GG here. What a game. What a game indeed. Panzer Grenadiers try to jump on the central VP here. Easy 8 whiffing shots into the wall. Grenade comes in. They're forced off. Yeah, and Parma's gonna throw in the towel. All right, so this was an interesting one, and it's cool for me to see because, you know, Maxi sent a couple of these level up games in. And it's kind of fun to watch his elo just tick up as he gets better at the game and handles better and better opponents, right? So both these guys are around 1300 elo. That's at the level where people like really understand the game, really understand the core mechanics. And what you're going to see is maybe just a little bit of inefficiency in either the build or in some of the micro. And I think that's kind of what we got here from both players. So Parma, the biggest issue ended up being map presence for him because of the Grenadier losses. And it's kind of a shame, but like the Stas troop getting knocked out early, that was huge. 4 Grens, all 4 kind of caught on the flank by rifles while he was microing somewhere else. The inability to replace that map presence and that pressure really makes life difficult for you. And then with the Grens, you're not necessarily going to win against the rifles, but with the Panzerfaust, you can at least threaten and force away the Scott, the Greyhound, and make that really painful for Maxi to use, which is what he did early on, knocking out 2 Greyhounds and a Chaffee early. And the Panzer Grenadiers, decent choice, especially once they start to vet up with the recent buffs. They're very strong. The Pack 40s, I think ideally you have 2 of them, right? And he really kind of had 1 in the Stug G. I think the Stug G was kind of a weird choice just because there wasn't that much on the field in terms of vehicles. And I think with 2 Pack 40s, you can probably manage, Chaffies and Greyhounds fairly efficiently, especially when supported by Grenadiers. I like the late game choice to build MG42. I think that's smart. It did a lot for him until the very end when the Scott cleared it. And then just taking a look at Maxi1boy here. Like I said, I thought he was a little late to get his 3rd rifle out, but I like the general build, like rifles with Jeep into motor pool, light vehicles into Easy 8s. Normally I'd recommend with War Machine and Armored Battlegroup, if you can build the tank depot, get multiple Easy 8s out for cheap, do that. But I think this made sense for the call-in, just based on the position he was in from VPs and fuel control at the time. If I was going to do anything differently, I think at the end there, he's got his Easy 8. He's just killed the Panzer IV. He's just killed the Stug. He's got an advantage. I think a second Easy 8 rather than another Greyhound and a Scott. If you really need the capping power, you can build a Scout. But you've got your 3 rifles. You've got engineers. In fact, when you call in that second Easy 8, another engineer squad approaches. I would rather have a second Easy 8 than an Easy 8 and a Scott, just because I feel like you kind of felt the Tiger was coming, the stall was coming, and 2 Easy 8s are going to be able to deal with that Tiger a little bit better, especially once you start stealing AT guns. But by far, play of the game was stealing the Pack 40, moving it back towards your own line, and then dragging the P4 to it with the damaged Easy 8. Big brain play there. Really, really well done from Maxi1boy. So Parma played really well, applied a lot of pressure early. This kind of stuff happens with some of these like individual unit losses. That's part of what makes the game so satisfying and replayable. I think, if he doesn't lose 1 or 2 of those Grand Squads, probably pulls this one out. Still almost managed to, despite only having 3 units left at like the 30-minute mark. And then for Maxi1boy, well done, man. Really cool to see you kind of continue to take your play to the next level. Nice balance of units on the field. Really like the willingness to use the motor pool vehicles. I think really smart. So well played to both guys. Thanks for watching, and we're going to wrap up this one. All right, so what we got here in blue, Kembool playing USF, immediately going barracks. And this is one of those things, this is the default construction position. You really like to see that on a map like this way up here for the reinforcement benefit. But opposite him is Bill playing DAK, immediately locking in armored support, going a second Panzer Pioneer and then a Krodschützen. I kind of think I'd like to see that build order reverse a little bit on a map like Faymonville that's super wide. That Krodschützen can give you a lot of early game capping power. I don't dislike the double Panzer Pioneer. Let's see where he goes with it. On the opposite side, so we see an engineer coming out from Kembool, and then first rifle from the barracks here. I have seen some interesting builds so far in this patch with armored. The engineer tells me that Kembool thinks he's going to go vehicle heavy, getting an engineer out on the field. I generally prefer to get a second scout, especially again, a map like this that plays super, super wide, getting that capping power on the flanks. And like scouts are going to lose to Panzer Pioneers, but it's not crazy. So you can generally force the DAK player in engagements that you want, especially because a DAK player doing things right has to really focus on like one side of the map. If they try to spread out too much, especially against Americans, they'll just get beat up. Now, the engineers are a really good counter to the CoH3 because their SMGs do so much damage, right? You just get all those different penetration rolls versus the single shots of the rifles. So if you can get close to the CoH3 and catch it with some weird path, then you can beat it up. Bill now going for a 250. This is something that I saw quite a bit guys like Red Leader use to really focus on like the vehicle heavy play from the DAK and prevent manpower bleed. Second rifleman out from Kembool, and it looks like he's really going to focus up on this north side of the map. Meanwhile, Bill focusing on the opposite side. So, you know, not a lot of contact yet. The CoH3 is about to make contact with these engineers here. And so this is real dangerous. I like the thought process here, but look at how much damage the CoH3 took right there. Now the rifle is going to add insult to injury. Oh, wow. CoH3's barely going to get out of there. The 250 comes over though. Bill is teching. I think this is probably smart. If you want to play with these half tracks, you got to get the combat half tracks upgrade early, and you have to have your light support company tech upgrade for that. This is a little bold. Run around with your CoH3 on that low of health. That's one of those things where, like, if you just get a little bit unlucky, you can get caught out and end up losing it, and that'd be really, really unfortunate. Now, one thing I like from Kembool is he side tech to the weapon support center and is now getting out a machine gun. I like to see these balanced builds from USF. So let's see where this one goes. One rifle squad uncovered the other one. Yeah, you shouldn't push up. Your engineers have your sandbags and your capping. But actually that half track, really, really lucky RNG rolls there. Now, the CoH3 going for the cutoff. There's nothing on the opposite side of the cutoff. Now the 250 needs to be careful. And you also never really know, like obviously grenades haven't been teched yet, but early grenade tech is something a lot of players do as USF. So you don't want to, you want to kite as much as possible with that 250, especially when you're on low health. You don't want to give up an easy kill to an early sticky bomb. Yeah, so resources about to be very evenly split. Oh wow, these rifles are pushing. This is a nice spot to stop. I would almost rather though see it continue to roll. Assault Grenadiers on the field. Engineers stop putting down their mine to pursue, and actually the Assault Grenadiers, they're doing some decent damage because they're getting the combined arms bonus from the 250. But yeah, they potential to bleed quite a bit there. Another Assault Gren squad coming out. I wonder if we're going to see tier 3 and 8 rods. I'd really love to see the new 8 rods. Well, okay. So we see Grenade Buxa on these Panzer Pioneers. Third rifleman out now for Kembool. And these riflemen have a long retreat path. The Grenade Buxa is not super accurate when moving, but you can apply a little bit of pressure here. CoH3's got to be careful of these engineers, like we've been talking about.
They have taken our victory point.
Yeah, and one easy thing you could do here is, I mean, you're already here. Push on this cutoff. Really starve your opponent of resources. All right, so Kembool's going armored. Does unlock veteran C1. Rapid production's going mechanized support center. Interesting.
Give them an answer, boys.
It's one of those things I feel like the mechanized support center, it kind of overlaps a lot with the armored battle group. The Grenade Buxa is doing some good damage. Good kiting. And actually, this little sandbag here is going to invite some extra damage from the GB39. Assault Grens find engineers. Yeah, you just want to... Oh, here's the grenade assault coming in. Engineers slow to react. Late retreat, but they're going to get away with all of their models. Oh, this Grenade Buxa plus the 250. Still haven't seen combat half tracks. Oh, and the Grenade Buxa targets the rifleman, so the 250 needs to back away and actually is in danger here. Don't stop. Oof. That was unfortunate. A little bit unnecessary. And then now you see Kembool pushing on that fuel. teching grenades. Yeah, assault grenades want to close, focus fire here. Now, I understand why you're like, oh yeah, let me get in green cover, but that time spent moving to green cover, you're already inside the point blank mechanic. So you're not going to actually benefit from that green cover, and the time you spend moving actually reduces your DPS. Oh, riflemen almost go down to the Granat Buxa. And we're seeing another Granat Buxa come. So you know there's no minesweeper on the field when this pops. Bill also going for the Panzerjäger call-in, which is, I mean, it's smart, especially you haven't seen vehicles yet. You see a machine gun. So weapon support center, you know, weapon support center is up. That tells you could be dealing with half tracks, but instead Kembool's building a motor pool, which I like this. I think the motor pool's in a great spot right now for USF. Also probably needs a med tent here at some point. That's the problem with playing very heavily with rifles. Oh, I thought that grenade, but the engineers moved just in time. When you play very heavily with rifles, you have to invest a lot in them to keep them viable throughout the game. And if you don't have good fuel control, that can just push all the remainder of your tech behind. Alright, so now Bill in control of all the fuel. Med truck in his headquarters. And he's gone tier 3. But hasn't done, so no other upgrades to include the support elements. Yeah, maybe we're going to see an 8-rod here. I would love to see, it's available. I would love to see an 8-rod as a nice counter to this mobile American play. Pioneers trying to throw a mine down. The engineers, how did they not see it? Oh, they get it. Wow, those engineers on just a fraction of health. These assault grenades, they could just pop smoke here and then move up on that machine gun. A little bit of a missed opportunity. Now we're seeing a half track. Oh, the mechanized support center. So we're seeing the immediate build, munitions free build of the quad mount. I think honestly it's a little late for the quad mount. I would rather go with the 75mm half track just because there are too many anti-vehicle options in the field. The half tracks are not as durable. Okay, so we're seeing an 8-rod and support armor elements from Bill. But like the 8-rod will chew up this quad mount. The Panzerjägers and the half track will chew up the quad mount. So there's a lot of risk in that build decision there for Kembool. And his fuel control has not been great. He's just recovering this plus 10 fuel now. So he's not going to be able to get a second half track out on the field anytime soon. The fact that he built the motor pool, I would almost rather see a Greyhound if he wants the anti-infantry. Greyhound's in a much better spot. Oh, but the quad mount smokes the crotches in, so I'm forced to eat my words almost immediately. Now the Panzerjäger half track coming in. Oh, immediately buttoned. Net 250 gets knocked out. Will the Panzerjägers inside survive? Only one model forced to back away. 8-rod is still gonna hunt this quad mount here. Oh wow, the quad mount is down to just a skosh of health, and then the 8-rod is on the retreat path of these rifles as well. Does the 8-rod see him? No, 8-rod doesn't see the rifles. That's unfortunate. Meanwhile, Bill doing a good job pushing. Look at this cutoff play. Nothing, I mean, cutoff play doesn't do anything there, but quad mount knocked out by the 8-rod. And now we see, that's not, is that War Machine? Yeah, I think so. So now all these US vehicles should be cheaper, but the US don't have the fuel control that they need. Yeah, even with that fuel point, with this cutoff, Panzer Pioneers denying it. These assault grenadiers. Assault grenadiers come with smoke grenades. Really easy to just pop that there, hang out on that point, and capture. 8-rod's just got a kite. I honestly think on a wide map like this, especially because you just killed that first half track, get a second 8-rod. The DPS is just nuts. Oh, instead we're going to see a Flampanzer. That actually might be a better call. If there's nothing on the field to counter it, that is going to be really nasty. Kembool doing his best to kind of keep up with the pressure. He's got a bazooka squad coming out, but the bazooka is going to get eaten up by this Flampanzer. Oh, and this machine gun needs to be careful because the Flampanzer does so much damage to units and abilities. It's going to retreat. Look at that health just bleed down. This is where you're like, man, these vehicles just need to be as active as possible. You can easily get a triple cap on here. Could probably, I mean, it's easy to see as the caster. You could probably base dive and just roll right through everything. This bazooka squad coming out really has no ability to counter the Flampanzer or the 8-rod. Now a 75 mil half track coming. And I think that's the... Bill's being very patient, but what he's really doing accidentally is giving Kembool a chance to kind of get back into the game here. Yeah, this motor pool looking a little bit like a mistake. Kembool hasn't built anything. Well, he's building these half tracks directly from it. I guess I would rather see Greyhounds, Chaffies from the motor pool than these half tracks. Stug D in the build now for Bill. But such excellent fuel and map control, triple cap on. Flampanzer can just dive. Assault Grenadiers pushing with it. Oh, this is going to be a painful retreat for these engineers. Wow, Kembool now building another quad mount? Oh, the 75 mil half track whiffs its first shot. Oh, the Flampanzer, you have to. All right, the assault grenadiers will pick it up. Like, you have to take the advantage and pick that up. Oh, this 8-rod looks like it's going to get double snared. He's going to probably, yeah, knock out the half track, but in danger of going down to literally anything else. Oh, Flampanzer hits a mine. Nice placement. So both DAK vehicles engine critted on very low health. Stug D comes in. Try to save the day. Kembool has no munitions income, so no real risk of another snare. I think 25 munitions, you can probably throw one more, but he's going to be forced to retreat by these rifles. Here comes the quad mount. The quad mount's not going to be able to do a thing. Assault Grenadiers force away the scouts. A second Panzerjäger half-track on the field. Bill very concerned about these half-tracks from an AT perspective. Oh, the quad mount might be able to knock out the 8-rod here, getting some penetrations on the front. So it does manage to knock out the 8-rod. And then see if the quad mount... I love its use of the button vet 1 ability, but it's not that effective. Quad mount knocked out. And I think, safe to say, looking at the KD, the triple cap, the VPs, this game is functionally over. Kembool has more bazookas out, but that Flampanzer is just going to run roughshot over them. Kembool's got the option to get an AT gun out, but it's going to have kind of a similar problem, especially with the Stug D on the field. So this is an interesting strategy from Kembool, building the motor pool and mechanized support center to get access to those half tracks. I just think in the current state of the USF motor pool, it's not necessary. And certainly throwing them away, you know, 3 half tracks, that's 90 fuel right there. You know, plus the 40 you've got. He could have his tier 4 built for that, or have 2 Chaffies, which would absolutely annihilate the 8-rod. You use your riflemen to kind of push off the DAK infantry. Which, as long as you fight at range, they should do okay. Meanwhile, for Bill, he's missed a couple opportunities to really punish some of these overextensions. He got 1 wipe on the bazooka squad, but you can do so much more damage and end the game so much sooner if you knock out some of these units.
Defend our victory point. We're losing it.
Now, like the Stug D, that was the other thing I would say, is it should probably just remain in the center. It's a very wide map, so between the Stug D and the Panzer Pioneers, you can just kind of lock down the middle and then use your Flam Panzer to drive around. Now, yeah, you got to be careful. Bazookas take some losses, and just kite these rifles so they can't run up and double snare you. And then with the Stug in the center and Panzer Pioneers on the retreat path, the rifles really can't get super aggressive. Assault Gren's over here. We're going to win all of these engagements. Yeah, MG already retreating. These rifles are just going to bleed. Yep, long retreat. And this is where you just drive on them with that Flam Panzer. The Stug is not the best platform for chasing, but the Flam Panzer definitely is. Let's take a look at the upgrades. So vehicle survival package, anniversary repair kits. That's good. I would love to see at this point. Is that oh, now it's the command panzer. I like that.
The Chaffee has arrived.
Meanwhile, all right, we're seeing a Chaffee from Kembool. He also unlocked the Easy 8 production. At this point, I don't think you're anywhere close to getting tier 4 out. I think you probably should have gone for the call-in or waited for the CPs for the call-in, especially if you know you're going to invest into a Chaffee. Nice dodge on the assault grenades there by the rifles. I don't know if getting in the house is a great idea, but at least it's safer knowing they've already expended their grenades. Chaffee is engaging infantry on the wrong side of the map. Panzerjäger is going to start to chip away at it there. Now the Flam Panzer. Rifleman on retreat as well. Yeah, you just got to push. You've got your opponent on full retreat. The only real threat to your vehicle forces over here in the form of this Chaffee and bazooka squad. These 3 units just rolling right into the base to end this game would have ended this game 5 minutes ago. And that is a completely viable strategy. Like base dives, especially in some maps like 1v1s, if they're timed right, they're backbreaking and you can end a game that otherwise might take you, 40 minutes. Yeah, these rifles, and you can comfortably dive the rifles here. Oh, now the Flam Panzer gonna get snared. Chaffee has the ability to chase, and actually this command panzer is the only thing that can really like counter the Chaffee because it actually has armor piercing rounds. The Vet 1 on the Flam Panzer can at least like kind of button the Chaffee. It looks like the Flam Panzer is going to force away the bazookas. Stug D in lockdown mode will continue to harass these rifles. You just got a spot for them. And that Chaffee is still alive, but can't penetrate the front armor on this Stug. It's one of those things you also use. The smoke from the Chaffee is super useful because it fires the smoke without changing its move orders. So you can be very aggressive with the Chaffee and then use the smoke to, cut off team weapons, get past that Stug. These engineers really help Bell because these assault grenadiers are shooting at the rifles. Yeah, I would have focused on the engineers first, force them away. Then you get the 2-on-1 with the rifles. Assault Gren's will win that one. Yeah, and then for Bill, love to see like rapid advance here. He's already got the auto repair. Did it just pop? Yep, it just popped. All right, so Bill making decent use of those the assault grenades. I would love to see use of the smoke, especially with 500 munitions. But with all these vehicles on the field, no tier 4 yet for Bill. You can continue to play this out with tier 3, but I would definitely go tier 4 armored reserves. I mean, the game should be in the bag at this point. Oh man, this Chaffee taking damage from the granat boxes as well. The Panzerjägers move up, force it away. The Stug just sitting on this VP here. And this is where this map can be really frustrating. Just trying to fight your way out of your own base is very easy to get locked down. And this Flampanzer, the lack of hard AT, there we go. Now we see a 57 mil. Oh, it bounces his shots. Wow, 3 straight bounces from the Flampanzer. 2 bazookas and 1 57 mil round. There we go. There's the smoke from the assault grens. Oh, this Chaffee. Yeah, don't forget about the Vet 1 from the Flampanzer that allows it to defend itself against vehicles. Now the med truck driving out. The bold strategy. Chaffee knocked out. Flampanzer. Bazooka's knocked out. Flampanzer's going to finish off the AT gun. And this game's going to be over on VPs. Yeah. That might be one of those games where when you're in it, it feels a little bit closer, but then when you watch it back, it wasn't really close. So let me take a look here. So Bill sent this in asking about like a little bit of like micro fatigue, and to be honest, like I don't know that I necessarily noticed micro fatigue in this game. I thought it was pretty clean kind of across the board. Mainly what I saw, and you can tell, look, the KD here is absurd. I mean, you want to have a positive KD as DAK. You need it to afford the DAK army upgrades and manpower cost. But I don't think you're really hurting. Map control is really solid. Enemy vehicles killed. There were some opportunities to use those Panzer Pioneers to recover more of those vehicle wrecks. 500 munitions. I'd also love to see more mine placement. I'd be interested in seeing your control scheme. It didn't look like Bill was clumping units up or blobbing. If anything, it looked like he was just kind of being very conservative. And so I understand starting DAK and playing conservative because you don't want to overextend or let the US player kind of wrap you up. But when you start to get kills, get wipes, the thing that really ends the game is eliminating enemy units wholesale. Right? Because this KD is wild, but Kembool lost, looked like 1 rifle and 2 bazooka squads, and that was really it. One bazooka squad right at the end there, the AT gun right at the end there. So you're not really wiping enemy units. And the Flampanzer, like, that's what the Flampanzer and the 8-rod are for, right? You force those, you hit them on the flanks, you force those long retreat paths, and then you punish. Yeah, that's kind of the biggest thing. So I'd have to see first person view use of the attack map, but I think the build, going back on the DAK side, right? Panzer Pioneers, Panzer Jaegers, Assault Grenadiers, and then a lot of vehicles. I think it's a good build to counter USF, right? Into tier 3 with the 8-rod. The Flampanzer is good. The 8-rod's nice because it can continue to counter those half-tracks. The Flampanzer can be really, really deadly, but I think a second 8-rod, the Stug D is never a bad choice, but a second 8-rod rather than the Flampanzer, and then get into tier 4 and start getting your real armor out is probably the answer. I like the use of the command Panzer. That was good. But all in all, yeah, pretty dominant game. And then looking at Kembool, I like the use of rifles into the weapons teams, right? But I think going mechanized support center to build half tracks on the motor pool, probably a mistake, probably a little inefficient. Chaffee came out way too late. I would rather see, a Greyhound. The problem are the Panzer Jaegers, you got to deal with them. But a Greyhound or a Chaffee supported by rifles. Rifles push away Panzer Jaegers, no problem. Greyhound deal Assault Grenadiers, so it requires some micro. But the motor pool is good, especially with the Armored Battlegroup, the War Machine upgrades. And then really, as Americans, you want to spread out the DAK players and then beat them when they try to match you in terms of map presence. You win those engagements, you force them back, impose some bleed, prevent them from getting their upgrades. Ultimately, when you go armored, your goal is to generate momentum through motor pool into easy 8s. And so that's where Kembool, without the fuel control, just kind of couldn't get that rolling, losing multiple vehicles, the 3 half tracks. The quad mount, I know every USF player wants it to be like the flak filling. It's not. It has its place. But I think if you're going to spam half tracks, I'd rather you invest that fuel into bars for your rifles and then get a couple of 75 mil half tracks that can counter those 8 rods, start to counter the Stug D, push away the Flam Panzer. I think that's where you'll make your money. But all right. Thanks for sending this one in, guys. GG, well played. And that's going to do it for this one.